The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
Hi, everybody. It's November 29th.
It is.
2023. And just last Thursday, I believe, was Thanksgiving.
How quick.
And some quick facts. Turkeys don't fly. And Benjamin Franklin wanted to make the turkey the national bird.
Correct. Because he referred to it as a noble animal.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, they don't fly. But they have wings.
They do have wings, but they don't fly. But they're mean as all get out. You don't want to be stuck in a cage with a turkey.
There was an incident that happened in Cincinnati, Ohio, where a gentleman thought that turkeys could fly and they were going to donate them, and they dumped them out of a helicopter, and the darn things all splattered on the ground.
And the parking lot crushed some cars.
Yeah. Oh, the humanity of it.
Yes.
So we have a great show today.
We do.
I have heard, when I walked into the front door, there's the lines of people trying to get into our studio.
Yeah.
And someone had slipped, I guess, in our staff and said something about Santa Claus. So we'll see. I don't know.
We're supposed to.
That's what I've heard. That's what people are saying in line.
There's a rumor that Santa may call in. So
it's true. Wow.
Well, it's a rumor.
I kind of got excited because, we're involved in some things with them, and we do contract work, you and me.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So we're hoping that Santa can break himself away from all his activities and join us during the first half of the show.
Because you and I have done a lot of design work.
Yes. Yes, we have.
Detailed.
Detail work. Yes. Yeah. Chalkboards and everything.
Oh, yeah. We have drafting tables set up over there where we work on new propulsion systems.
Right. Right. So a couple things.
Yeah, give me some news there, Frankie.
Tomorrow is a big day in Tesla world.
Why?
Because the Cybertruck release will happen.
Ooh.
They're going to be doing it 10 Cybertrucks at the upcoming delivery event, according to a company executive.
I'm on the list. I want one.
Yes.
The tri-motor.
Yes. Yeah. So it'll be... And by the way, I spoke to somebody yesterday who owns a Rivian.
Oh, really?
And I invited them to come to the studio.
Yes, because some of the nuances of what we think may not be true.
Right.
Because we only inferred.
Right.
And it would be interesting to get a firsthand information.
Right. So this car was purchased sight unseen.
Where at? In Florida here?
Right here in Stewart.
I wonder if our salesman was that salesman.
Well,
remember, he was the top dog.
No, this is Rivian.
Oh, Rivian. Oh, yeah, Rivian. I was thinking it was.
Lucid Air.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's a Rivian car here in.
They have a pretty good network and because they were tied in with Ford.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But Rivian next to Tesla, I would say Rivian has a good back end.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like Lucid Air has no back end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's
they've got a new Lucid Air car.
She looks good. She sounds good. She runs good. But when anything goes amok, you got problems.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, shipping it to Orlando.
Yeah,
on a flatbed.
So lots of excitement right now with the Cybertruck because there's a couple of Cybertrucks that have been placed in some of the Tesla stores.
I've heard that.
And there's one in South Carolina.
And they're very close to what the actual is, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Just adjusting for inflation.
But I've heard that fit and finish on those is good because you remember we've talked about the problem with the stamping of the unibody.
Mm-hmm. And we got a
North Pole's going.
All right. We got a caller on our newsmaker line. All right. Go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. Is this Martin County?
Yeah. Hey,
this
Santa. This is Santa.
We know your voice. We've spoken to you many times. Wow. How's things going up there? Pretty chilly willy up there?
Well, I had to come back here to check you guys out.
Well, of course.
I heard you were nasty last year, so I had to come back.
That's what I've heard. We've been working late nights trying to really hone in on that new propulsion system we designed for your sled. We've put a little magic in her.
Well, yeah, I tell you the story behind that one.
Oh yeah.
I got tired of reindeer poop, so I decided I was going to get some ho-ho-hos to pull the sleigh, and they weren't able to do it. So you know what I did? I've got a brand new Tesla SpaceX sled.
Oh my
the
gosh.
floorboard is loaded with new Tesla Powerwall 4630 batteries.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. And you can recharge on the fast chargers as you're traveling through Christmas Eve. That's fabulous.
Oh, that's not all.
What else you got?
Have
Have you air conditioned that sled with that electricity? You probably could put an enclosure over it, Santa. Get some heat.
I'm thinking a little heater might work better. Boy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But you know what I did add? Super Draco thrusters. They're designed to get that extra boost in the airspeed, you know.
Oh yeah, you get top speed because these kids are demanding these days. They want everything. And let me ask you a question, Santa. How are the kids these days? Are they being good?
Are you kidding me? Have you looked around lately?
Oh, we love you,
this
Santa.
year.
Yes. Yeah, they want everything.
It's time for Martin County to remember the character counts.
Oh, yeah. And you'll be zipping around Martin County so fast, it'll just blink of an eye. You'll be up and down them chimneys fast.
So
I'll tell you.
Yeah, let me ask you something, Santa. I know last year you had a little weight problem.
Ago out at the beach.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised. I can't find my way around for all the new buildings.
Yeah, and they make these chimneys smaller and smaller. And Santa, last year you put a few pounds on. How you doing this year? How's your diet working, Santa?
Well, last year Mrs. Claus got me a Peloton bike, and so I've been working on that a little bit.
Oh, I see. Well, that's beautiful. That's great. But you got that and the red velvet suit going up and down that chimney, and I love it. You're a dedicated individual, Santa, and you really push it and work hard. Wow.
Well, here's the whole thing. What really matters is the spirit of Christmas.
It does.
We've got to understand that everybody's got a little Santa in them. You just have to remember that Santa's there all year round.
Yes. Yes. How are your elves doing up there, Santa?
Well,
or is that another story?
After COVID, everybody's kind of slowed down.
Yes.
But they're perking it up a little bit, and now that I've hired the ho-ho-hos, they're having a better time.
Oh, I bet. And those ho-ho-hos, they are some lookers, I hear.
Well, Santa's got to have something for himself besides gingerbread cookies.
Oh, that's right. Those rosy cheeks are always smiling. Now we know why. We figured it out.
You boys inspire me.
Well, no comment.
All right.
Yeah.
So, well, that's wonderful. So thank you for calling in, Santa. We know you're just so busy because you're jammed up. You only got 3 weeks left before.
And Santa, a quick question: did you get my list of what I want?
I did, and all I gotta say is, I've been watching you on social media. You've been a bad boy.
Now I think you got the wrong. Well, you better take a break here.
I think so.
Cut,
Well,
break.
I look forward to talking to you all next time.
Yeah, thank you, Santa. Oh, see ya.
Yeah, happy holidays. Thanks, Santa. That's great.
That's great.
Oh my God.
Oh, he revealed the list. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Let's battery packs, Tesla. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, Frank, this Cybertruck, is it have that new battery pack too? I believe didn't he have an updated battery pack that's going to have a little bit more range?
Yes. So they're talking about that, and there's a lot of specifics about this truck that we're going to learn tomorrow. They're deliberately.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that is going to has changed from what was originally touted.
Right. Right.
Not good or bad. I just think it's some difference.
Right. And it's because this particular product has been evolving through the creative process.
Of course, because anytime you have you're a disruptor, and that is a disruptive in sense of industry, the whole design of it. And Frank, we've talked about it. The body of that is one giant stamping, which he's pulled it off, obviously, because it's being done.
Right.
But there were some hiccups on that thing.
Oh,
These
God,
were
yeah.
the biggest presses that anyone has ever made, because
Right.
these presses, if you ever seen these, I've seen them. I've toured the Nissan plant in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and you can feel the shake of the floor. There's that much mass and weight, these gigantic presses that take
Right.
sheet metal and stamp it into cars. Well, you can imagine what it takes to make a whole car from one stamping.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, mind bending, actually. Kudos to Elon for pulling it off.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's been a lot of naysayers on this thing, and he's been hit pretty hard with a lot of people saying he wasn't going to do it. And he's typical Musk style.
Right.
He's slid through everything unscathed, and he's going to release a good product, is what my suspicions are.
Right. Well, he was arguing with the traffic safety people.
Because he got hammered on a big lawsuit where he was blamed. There was a settlement or something about a software or design that was
there was
contributing causality in regards to liability on the self-driving aspect of a car that was in an accident of some sort.
And he won that case.
He won, but there was some aftermath rulings that I've read about that is the government or something has said or touted that some of his design was faulty, or at least that's what was said.
Intimated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But so the original design concept was that he did not want there to be side view mirrors on that car.
Yes, because that was one of his. Yes, very interesting.
And he bent to the will of the government, and there are now side view mirrors on the car.
When the government puts the arm of the law and they got some weight behind them.
Oh yeah,
they do.
So
especially when you're flying rockets with them.
But
right?
And his rationale was that a camera can do anything that a mirror will do.
I agree, and actually, a mirror does have some coefficient of friction as well as aerodynamics. It does cut down on things. It does.
Correct. And it also affects the when you look at a mirror, you are
it's a reverse. It's a reflection.
Yes.
So it's opposite.
And it also gives you a specific view based on your angle of view
and your only view. So yes.
So his contention was that with a camera, he can actually create a 360 view of the car.
So it could be biased by how you have the mirror set. Could be
you could miss stuff.
It could create a mirage effect where you'd miss something.
Correct.
And it's there, but you just plain outright don't see it because it doesn't show it.
Right. Because of a limited field of view that you would have.
Good point, Mr. Frank.
Yeah.
That's a good point. No, it's real.
So anyway, so that was that. And but I think ultimately he will win the day once he gets the car out there. And I think future iterations of this vehicle will probably come with cameras instead of mirrors.
Let me ask you this, Frank. As long as you and I have been talking about Musk, has he ever not won the day? That man can pull himself out of a sinkhole and still not be scathed.
Well, because he really
smart.
does.
He's smart.
He thinks these things through.
Oh, he's thorough.
Yeah,
he's thorough.
And he's not SpaceX is a good example. He's not afraid to just. He thinks it through enough to where he says, okay, this is testable at this point, and then he'll test the rocket. If it fails, the next iteration will be, he knows why it failed, and then they can correct it. But the idea to spend decades trying to create something on a computer or on a drawing board, and then try to have it come out perfect. That's
one off, and that is, we've never discussed this on our show ever. That as technology always is marching forward. You got Moore's law where when you have things this advanced, if you expect it's going to be a one-off wonder with no issues, I got news for you. It's not.
Right.
It's not. And knowing that, and he builds that into his design process by catching things early. He does. He catches things and makes changes. That's good. And I don't believe he tries to cover anything up. I believe he's very
Yeah.
frank about anything. And
Yep.
even if he's culpable on a design flaw and it's been brought to notice, he takes care of it. He doesn't try to say no.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Whereas so many manufacturers try to hide them. Well, look at that famous book that Ralph Nader wrote about
Oh yeah.
what was that car that couldn't tell whether it was coming or going? The thing looked the same front and back. What was it called? The Corvair.
Corvair. Yes.
Yes. Unsafe at any speed.
Unsafe at Any Speed was the book that he wrote. Yes. And it
but
killed.
GM knew about that before he wrote the book. That's the whole point of the matter.
Yeah, and now in retrospect, a lot of safety analysts said that perhaps he was a little henny penny about it. The car wasn't nearly as bad as he portrayed it to be.
Not as bad as the Pinto. Remember the blowing up Pinto with the
fuel tank?
Poor
right?
Ford in their Pinto. Yeah, blew. I mean,
Yeah. Whoops.
Explosion here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. In fact, those cars are highly collectible, especially the Monza version, which is a sports car with the turbo on it.
Yeah.
Flat, a pancake motor. It's opposing a boxer motor that was in that. So very interesting, like a Porsche.
Okay, so just to wrap up on this, because this is exciting. Tomorrow is going to be the big reveal day for sales. So this will be the last topic on Cybertruck. But Cybertruck, people wanted to get their car in different colors. And
how is he addressing that?
They're going to allow wraps.
I would just say, why not wrap the darn things? And that's not a bad
And
idea.
There is a guy that ordered one. I saw an interview that up in was it one of the?
That's a disruptor in the paint industry. Oh, that's a disruptor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the paint companies are furious.
So there's a guy who has a pest control business. So he bought himself a Cybertruck, and he's going to wrap it with his logo and all this stuff on
so
it.
interesting.
And it lends itself perfect to what he wants to do. So he's already placed his order.
Myself personally, just before I went to the show, my son wants to learn how to wrap some of his purple Charger that he has. So I just was on the internet ordering some matte black wrap, and I've been learning how to do it because I'm going to teach him how to wrap his hood. Yeah. These kids like to have the hood blacked out.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to do it on his Charger.
Well,
we're wrapping. We're doing the same thing you're talking about, wrapping.
Yeah.
And the technology on that stuff is amazing. You would just not. There's science in this stuff.
Oh yes.
Because initially when wraps came out, the color, the dyes would fade over in the sun, and they become quite good.
Yes.
Quite good.
Right, and it's a heat process.
Oh yeah. You wrap them, and it's just amazing. A good wrap, you can't tell.
Right.
You can. Do you know there's wraps, Frank, that are metallic looking? I've seen a car running around town. It was a BMW that was a metallic red.
Wow.
It looks like something, the Hot Wheels like I had when I was a kid, but it was really driving on the road.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Woo.
It's a mirror finish
Yes.
with that radiant or iridescent red.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Wow. Wraps. So he's going to wrap his trucks. Boy,
well, he's going to allow for that. I don't know if he's going to be doing that, but he's going to. He was pretty adamant that the cars he's going to only sell the stainless steel. That's it.
I think that trademark, just like with Henry Ford, but his was black. It was, you could only get one color, black. I mean, and well, Back to the Future machine, the DeLorean.
Yes,
same thing. Stainless steel silver.
Right. So there's some videos online that you can go to if you want to see what the interior of these.
We got to go test drive one as soon as we can, Frank. Pull some strings. You know, you always have connections to all these car manufacturers.
Yes.
You've been getting me right in the front door of these things, and I've been putting you in the back seat, and literally.
Well, I'm gonna.
You have to strap in when I go.
I'm going to switch to a flip phone because my phone always flips anyways every time I'm in the car with you.
It's drive it like you stole it, pedal to the metal.
That's it.
We got to test that thing.
That's it.
We got to test it. So that's perfect. Why don't we take a break?
We can do that. So we'll be right back. So stick with us. We have much more to cover on the flip side. So stick with us.
I'm excited.
We're back.
We're back.
Thanks for sticking with us. We've got much more to cover. Todd has got a case study he wants to
Let's
tell.
talk about it. It's a Land
Yes.
Rover.
Mm-hmm.
We've done this in the past. We've talked about case studies.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about this. Let me give you a little bit of background. It's a 2010 Range Rover. Well, Land Rover and Range Rover. Let me explain the difference. Land Rover is the name of the company.
Right.
Range Rover is actually a model. A lot of people get
Right.
those intermixed.
Oh, of course, like Frigidaire and refrigerator.
And this is, it's owned by a Pilot.
Right.
And it's the supercharged version. So it's the highest end of that model of that year.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like 26 computers on it. 26.
Wow.
And the ABS,
Automatic braking system.
correct, that module and system was corrupting the controller area network high speed, causing erroneous messages on the dash and disrupting other functions of other computers. That was the problem. So it needed, one of the issues was the ABS module,
Right.
the electrical portion of it, because an ABS module is electrical with a computer and microprocessor, but there's also a mechanical portion of it that does the valving and the controlling of the brake fluid to pulse the brakes, and that's how ABS works.
Got it.
Which, by the way, was originated in World War II with airplanes.
Aircraft.
That's
That's
correct. They had the first anti-skid.
Right.
So it was determined that it was the ABS module. And I always present all options. And the one option I'm not going to tell you till the end because that's the zinger of the story, but I will tell you he opted, and we've done it many times in the past, to buy a good, tested, used module. Now, one of the things that you have to do to these used modules is you have to put in the adaption settings for that model, because it has different settings for the braking depending on what it has.
Right.
Whether it's they're all four-wheel drive, but does it have the off-road suspension? Is it supercharged or more power, et cetera, et cetera? So there's adaptions. But one of the features that manufacturers do is these modules in the EE memory portion of it, which is a permanent memory chip that doesn't get affected by loss of battery power. It puts in binary code the VIN number. So every car, Frank, your vehicle, my vehicle, every car made, in each module, as long as it's a programmable module, the major subsystems of a car, it's, a window switch that has a chip in it isn't going to have that in it.
Right.
Except for GM, by the way. GM does. Tidbit of information. The VIN number is permanently put in there. Permanently in the sense that because there is no way, well, there is, and I'll talk about
permanent memory.
And when you did a programmable module installation, and in my business, it's called a PMI. That's when you take a module, whether it's virgin new or used, you put in the correct calibrations, you put in the adaption settings like we talked about, and the VIN number then gets overwritten on that memory chip. And there's no degradation of computing power. There's no safety issue. There's nothing. It's put there as an anti-theft is what it's put there for.
Right.
Okay. It's kind of like, you remember when you buy a car, they would always, hey, you want your windows etched? Well, they would put it on the Maroni sticker, and you'd get charged until you could negotiate out of it the etching of the window glass. They used acid on that, by the way, with a stencil. Yep. And it would have the VIN number on your glass. Well, same thing, except this is a module. And Range Rover, just like 90% of the manufacturers, when you use their software, and I have the factory software and scan tool, it's called SDD. Okay. It's an acronym, and it's I'll think of what it means in a second, but right now I'm on a different tangent in my brain. Okay. And I'll tell you what that is, but you would overwrite it and everything would be peachy keen. Right. Customer would be on his way. Well, here's what those rascals did about 6 months ago.
The rascals at
Range Rover have taken out the ability. Oh, you can put the adaption in, you put the software, but if it already has a VIN number in there, you can't overwrite it.
It's locked in there.
It's locked, baby. It's locked. So that just changed.
So what was their thinking? What was their rationale? What would be their
greed?
There's
it is greed. There is no. Well, they're going to tell them, well, it's it's a chip and it's degrading you're potentially causing a safety issue. No. This is pure money.
Wow.
Because now ABS modules are only made by 2 companies in the world. One of them's a German, and I'm sure you can tell me what that is.
Oh.
Robert
Bosch.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is Kelsey Hayes.
Ah, okay.
2.
All right.
That's it, 2.
Mm-hmm.
They all make them for every manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
Ford's, it depends on what the application is, but those are the only 2.
Right.
It's kind of like
well, Bosch is very big with Volkswagen Group.
sure,
Too. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it was a Bosch,
Mm-hmm.
Bosch 10.0 module.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your choices? Well, currently, to get the car done and fixed,
Right.
you now have to change the game with a new module. The new module's $3,500 just for the module.
Just for the ABS.
The module alone is $3,500. It's probably a $400 part. $3,500. Wow. Everyone get that? There is, when I said that price, and we know competitive, like a Ford module, just the module would be about $400. Same module, except it's some nuances and changes on casing and stuff, but it's the same guts.
Right.
Same
workings. Mm-hmm.
They just give it to Ford or sell it to you with their proprietary, specifications that are specific to the manufacturer, but it's the same darn thing. So if Ford can sell for $400 or $600 or even $1,000, $3,500. You gotta be kidding me.
Wow.
Something's going on. Well, Range Rovers or Land Rovers owned by 2 brothers that started selling bicycles in India.
Well, Tata Brothers.
Tata Brothers. Wonder how
Yes.
they got the money selling bicycles. I wonder if chains were expensive in India. I wonder if there's a strategy there.
Wow.
But I will tell you, that's a very interesting story that it ended up being an economic story, not a can't fix. But now there's a workaround.
There is a workaround.
So I have a machine coming.
Okay.
Okay. It clamps onto the EE chip. And every EE chip made anywhere has 4 legs on each side. Little legs that are soldered onto the board.
Right.
The little clip that clips onto it, onto a little teeny DOS operating system, little screen and board. And guess what you can do? You can overwrite the VIN. You got to separate the case. Now we're getting at the surgical level.
Right.
So there's a workaround. And when I found that workaround, Crown Car Care has to have one in their arsenal of tools.
Yeah.
So it's coming actually today. It arrived today. I haven't opened the box.
Wow.
Yes. So I have it, but
so
this car's gone and everything. So we had to buy a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, there's no moves. I mean, what move do you got?
Right. Isn't that amazing?
So it's an economic situation, and that something wrong with that. I just it's unsettling for me. It doesn't. Every business is entitled to make a fair profit. Every business is entitled to cover their fixed costs. But when things change and when things are so pricey compared to the same module made by the same manufacturer for another manufacturer, a competitor, and they're 75% cheaper, I've got a problem, a big problem. And in fact, I lose respect because there is greed motive coming into play here. And I don't like that.
Right.
Focus on making a good product. Don't focus on pilfering your poor customers that bought this thing on a repair side. Right. That's ridiculous.
So, and there's really no, other than consumer awareness, there's not much you can do about that, right?
It's not illegal.
Right.
No, it's not illegal.
Right.
And if you get the right engineers and the right public relations, you can, a top spins both ways, counterclockwise or clockwise, that top will still stand.
Right.
So spin can go any way you want it. Right.
Fair enough.
Right. So spin-o-matic. That's how it would work out. But the fact is this is an economic and it's harsh.
Yeah.
It's a big price. Okay. So the module that I picked up used was probably selling price was $550, I think. $550.
Wow.
For a used one. No, it's $3,500.
Wow.
That phone call is difficult.
Yeah.
No, it's just what you can do. I mean, but it's
yikes.
Right? And this kind of stuff happens. There's things out there in my industry and business that at the manufacturer level that are, I will say, sneaky. And I don't like it.
Right.
Musk isn't sneaky.
No,
Not like that.
He lays all his laundry out there.
He's sometimes what's it called? What's a Cheshire cat when they smile? He sometimes knows he knows,
Right.
and he doesn't show every card. It's
Right.
always in good ethics,
Right.
But then he's like throws that trump card down at the end. I won.
Right.
Right? He does it all the time.
Right.
He does. So
Yes.
I don't know what to say other than that. It's not a story about ability. It's not a story about a tough car to fix. It's an economic story.
Yeah.
And that's different. I've never really discussed in all my years doing the radio show. We've never had a
But
topic like that.
Right. But I have seen over the years where the cars that came out of Japan, for example, because growing up in Detroit, a lot of the kids that I went to school with, their dads worked at the General Motors Tech Center.
Sure.
They were engineers and that sort of thing. And the chief complaint was that when we sold a part for a car after the car has been sold and you needed a replacement part, there was a reasonable cost to buy the part.
It almost feels like if you love your loyalty of your customers,
right,
there is a mutual unwritten agreement that the repair of that vehicle can't be. This is the problem with battery packs, by the way.
Right.
GM does it with their battery packs. One of our business members owned what is that first GM?
The
Volt. Yeah, the battery pack's $13,000,
Mm-hmm.
and that's only one of them. There's three of them. That's not right.
Right.
That's not right.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Right.
I got a problem with that.
Right.
Because now you have an obsolescent vehicle that an innocent. Remember, consumers that buy cars, I don't expect them to know the wealth and vastness of the information that you and I know. This is what we do.
Right.
But remember, consumers know more than I would know about a hot water heater, the different types and nuances of a hot water heater, and if it's pricey to fix a hot water heater if it breaks. I don't know that. I don't think to know that even if I buy one.
Right.
Nor does a consumer.
Right.
Right.
Just want to know if it works. Yeah.
It works. Most is an emotional love affair with the vehicle. And that's what Tesla's got going for him with this Cybertruck. Right. He's tugged at the hearts of people's imaginations. It was like our first moonshot back in the late 60s when we went to the moon. Right. Right. It tugged at our emotions. And that's why it was so successful on every aspect, even though we know before they went to the moon, there was a couple tragedies where some of the astronauts died on the launch pad. Correct. But it was such an emotional success that stuff, we went past it. And it's people, when they buy a car, it's emotional. Right. And you can't then take advantage of, I guess what I'm saying is taking advantage of somebody at an emotional level when they fall in love with a Land Rover or something, or their small business has finally made it and they're treating themselves. And I love that kind of stuff where that story, they get to buy their first car, a Range Rover, a high-end car that they've always dreamed of and never thought they could own. They buy it and then they find out after 3 years, the repair bill is $10,000. Come on. Right. There's something wrong with that.
Yes.
I don't like that.
No.
And it puts a sour taste in my mouth. And certainly I've owned 2 Range Rovers myself personally, Frank, and you know that. And I'm thinking differently now, actually. That's not right.
Yeah. You want to support a company that's willing to.
You want to support your people that buy your cars, not by pilfering them on the, making them do something that is just greed. Right. Right. Because very few manufacturers do that. Ford doesn't do that. No. You overwrite Fords. You can overwrite every man. GM is the only one that you can't. In 2010, they can't. You're stuck. You're stuck. So, but GM does that. And some of the stories I've just talked about with GM, it wouldn't surprise me. Because if you remember, the government bailed out a couple of the big 3. Yes. GM took the money and so did Chrysler. Ford didn't. And a lot of GM's reason why they had to take the money was because of mismanagement and just excesses in terms of salaries and personnel, and it was a bloated company. So I don't have any pity for them. But they do that with the modules. Right. Right. There's probably other ones, but I'm just off most don't.
All right. Well,
we got some more good stuff coming. We're getting to the end. We're going to talk about alignment machines.
Ooh,
Yeah. How about that one?
nice. All right, well, stick with us. We'll be right back.
Damn good story, ain't it? About the Range Rover.
All right,
Okay, we're back.
All right, so we got about 10 minutes left. What else we got going
We're
on?
going to talk about just brief history of alignment machines.
Okay.
There's pretty much two players in the alignment machine game, manufacturers. You got the originator of it in 1947, company called John Beam. The alignment machine was called a visual liner.
Okay.
I'll talk about the process. 1947. Hunter, which is the other competitor. Oh, by the way, John Beam now is owned by Snap-on Tools of Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Oh.
Okay. The other is Hunter in 1950. They came out with the light aligner. Their competitors was the visual aligner. Now think about alignments. It's all angles. It's well, you know, Frank, how many setting adjustments are there? We live in a three-dimensional world, so
Right.
you've got in out like a duck or wide-footed, right? That's toe.
Right.
You've got curve, like you got a curve in your spine, that would be camber.
Okay.
And then you got, you know, a poor posture, which would be caster. That would be your back, your top half of your head and shoulders would be behind your feet. You know, slouch. Slouching would be the caster.
Got it.
Okay, so caster.
Okay.
That's forwards and backwards.
Mhm.
Camber is side to side. Tilt, so to speak, and then toe is true side to side.
Okay.
Wheels come in. So there's three measurements that you're chasing in an alignment. There's other subtleties like thrust angle and things like that, but those are formed by other components of the vehicle, and it's just basically a double check to make sure the body and everything is perpendicular and squared up to the alignment itself. Because you could have think about a parallelogram. Everyone knows what a parallelogram is, right? It's a rectangle with tilted sides.
Correct.
Right. Right. And imagine a vehicle going down the road like, well, have you ever seen a crab walk? Okay, you could have a car looking like a crab.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been behind one, it's difficult to look at and you almost laugh.
Those are cars that have been in an accident, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You can always, but no one ever knows. I always say it and show my wife, show people. Once you see it, you can't forget it.
You can't unsee it.
You can't unsee that. But it's like it's cocked going down the road.
Sure.
Okay. That's where other things come into play.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the rear end of the car, because most people don't realize also, Frank, that the rear of the vehicle has some basic settings. Now, we're not talking 1960s cars. I'm talking, you know, 1995 and newer.
Right.
You can do toe and camber, but not caster. Caster is not a measurement because caster is always the leading wheels of anything.
Uh-huh.
Think of a shopping cart at Publix.
Yeah.
They spin around, right? You know why? Because there's no caster. Because you want to be able to make a tight corner. Caster. Think of Henry Fonda's chopper on that. What's that famous movie he was in? That was red, white, and blue, the tank, and it's a famous, iconic movie about Americana.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of it, but a
Yeah.
chopper means the wheel is way out forward. If you've ever
Peter Fonda.
Peter Fonda, yeah.
Yeah.
If you've ever ridden
Mhm.
a chopper motorcycle, I've
Mhm.
owned one.
Mhm.
It tracks like an arrow,
Right.
but going around a corner is another thing.
Yeah.
You ain't going around a corner.
You have to really lean into it, right?
Oh yeah. So a shopping cart, because it's tight aisles, you want no caster, and that's why they spin like crazy. If you've ever seen a wheel or the frame's bent on a shopping cart and the wheel starts doing a spin on you when you're at
Right.
Walmart because they're too cheap to fix them. The worst shopping carts, listening audience, in any business I've ever been in is Walmart. They do not take care of their shopping carts.
Except for this past month, they got all new shopping
They
carts.
did.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So,
now Publix has the best.
Yes.
They're always true and straight,
Mm-hmm.
and the wheels are always replaced at regular intervals.
Nice. Yeah.
They're good.
Right.
Because I'll put a cart back. If I take a shopping cart, Frank, and I push it forward, because I am not going to
fight it.
I already got a leash on me when I'm shopping. I don't want to be fighting the cart because I'm already getting pulled. Huh? You've had that.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that shopping cart to track.
Yeah.
Okay, so these alignment machines, the first ones, used light, mirrors, and reflections.
Okay. Now we're using laser, right?
Laser.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll tell you. Here's what I'll tell you, though.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to use a digital micrometer or a highly accurate German-made mechanical one? Which one's going to be consistently more accurate?
Probably a mechanical one.
Darn tootin'.
Yeah.
The first alignment machines are more accurate than the newest ones, even though the new ones are very accurate, very fast, and they're so accurate that what they're not accurate at doesn't come into play in a car. Okay. You know, sometimes it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like looking at a smooth surface. If you took a microscope, Frank, and looked at this countertop I'm on, my skin says it's smooth. When you look close, it's rough.
Right. Right.
All the same alignment. You can get down to micro levels of measurement that just don't matter.
Right.
They're negligible. But the accurate ones, those things are accurate because light is
it reveals everything.
God's creation of light and mirrors and reflections, it's accurate always.
Yeah.
So, but it was slower and it was just
more painstaking, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before that, what do you think they did with alignments before that? Bubbles.
Sure.
Bubble like on a level.
Yeah.
You would a lot of them were magnetic, and they would stick onto the center hub where you take the nut off to pack your bearings.
Now, have you ever heard the expression, he's just a half a bubble out of plum?
Yeah, that's where it came from. That's right.
So many times, the problem is now that in today's world, when I use that expression with people, they have no idea what I'm talking about.
They don't even know what a level is.
what a bubble is. Yeah.
But I'll tell you that even when I was a kid,
you
know, I don't think most people understand how a level works.
No.
To be honest with you. Because, people that the water level, you can make your own level, what's called a water level. You put water in the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about a plumb bob? You know what a plumb bob is?
Sure. Use that a lot of times hanging wallpaper.
Darn right. You get a straight line.
Yep.
And you're not going to mess with God's physics.
No.
It's accurate.
Yep.
It's simple.
Yep.
Can't make a lot of money on it, though.
No.
Now, if you make a laser little device and sell it for $200 and it costs you $50 to make, you've created some economic activity, and inside of that's profit.
Right.
If you're making it's been made out of lead. If you're making a lead plumb bob, and if you got to put string on it, there's not a lot of margin in there in terms of gross money.
No.
Is there?
No.
It has to do with the alignment machines and everything else in this world, Frank, that we use and love.
Yeah.
The print. Back to the Land Rover story.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. But these alignment machines prior to that, you used. Now, if you've ever seen race cars, a lot of race cars, even on Daytona, they don't use a tow bar, which is a steel bar that has measurements built into it, that has a pointer on each end, and that's how you do a lot of heavy, big equipment. If you really think you're going to align the world's largest dump truck,
yeah, probably not.
No, you tape measure.
Yeah,
but if you're going to the same point in front and behind of the axle, in front and behind, you can do an accurate toe adjustment, which is the duck feet or pigeon toed.
Mm.
Okay, toe is very accurate with a toe gauge. You wouldn't think it is, but darn, it's accurate.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's measurement. Again, you're not messing with physics and mechanical measurements and things like that. It's just accurate always. When you get into other things that like equipment that has to be clamped on, like an alignment machine that by the way, we have a Hunter machine, the most advanced on the market at both my stores, and both are new within 2 years.
Nice.
And that's what I do. So that was the hook on this whole thing was come to Crown Car Care if you want the best alignment, because we really do the alignment. And this is part 2 of the story. And we have a couple minutes left, and I'm going to get into it because this is important.
Yes.
It just talks about my business and why I am what I am and what I value and what I give to my customers. Every car, in the old days, an alignment was very easy. Adjust the tie rods, put a couple shims in the upper control arms, and you've got your alignment done. Not today. There is electronic suspensions. There are different types of suspension systems that have different adjustments. There's procedures on how and when you do it. There's sensors that have to be recalibrated with anything from anti-lock braking to, for example, even self-driving and traction control. All comes into play with alignments, and it's critical that you do the step-by-step process. Now, if one of the tire stores that I'm not going to name names because they're all over. You've got Goodyear, Tires Plus, you've got all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
You think if they're touting a $59.95 alignment that is highly advanced to really do right, you really think for $59.95, that man in the back or woman is really doing it. If you believe that, I read a story about the Brooklyn Bridge was once to be sold. It's not happening. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not happening. I've been in this industry long enough to know. When you're doing an alignment, my prices of alignments are more money than everybody else, but they're done right. And that's my value system. We can do it right. Your car is going to be fixed right. Okay. Henry Ford had a famous quote, and that quote was, "Quality is when nobody is looking, it's done right." Right? And that's important.
Yeah.
Especially with cars with safety and automated driving and ABS systems. The alignment is critical, especially with tire prices. If you have a bad alignment, it'll wear your tires. You'll pay dearly for that $59 alignment after 6 months.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So my alignments are more.
Yeah.
We use the best equipment and we do it right. We do the procedures the way they're supposed to. Sometimes you have to hook up scan tools and recalibrate and stuff. We do it.
So let me ask you about speed bumps, because we touched on this topic
we have.
in the past. You get an alignment.
Yep.
And your daughter or your wife's driving the car, misses the sign that says,
and they never tell you the truth until you hammer it out of them. Usually takes an argument, but go ahead.
Yeah. So the car is running rough after the
alignment is, something's a buck.
Something, yeah. So
something is truly bent. Something bends, and actually, if you want the truth of the matter, if it's minor, sometimes you can do an adjustment to compensate for it. But if you want the truth of the matter, and it was the presidential limousine, and everything has to be perfect, you'd be replacing some parts there, Frank. Wow. Strut usually gets bent a little bit. Strut.
Okay.
That's usually what'll happen. Strut gets bent. And when the strut bends, now that secondary measurement, thrust angle, comes into play, which we were discussing. Right. It's not the true alignment. You can do an alignment on a wrecked car, and it's still aligned. Walks like a crab, talks like a crab, but it's still aligned. It's going in the other lane. The butt end of it's going into the second lane, but it's aligned. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the facts. Something bent.
Yeah.
The adjustments don't slide when they hit a bump; they bend.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Okay? That's the is that the hook on this thing?
Yeah, because people don't know why is my car all of a sudden out of adjustment? Did the parts slip apart?
But here's the other thing: you could have a cord separation in a tire. Also, that could be the other thing. It could just be a tire. A hard hit on a tire can separate the cords, especially if they're a couple of years old, and you'll get a pull that you think is the car, and it's just the tires.
Whoa, good to know.
All the time.
Wow.
When Todd has to step in on a deep problem on an alignment, it's always the tires.
Nice. All right. Well, good. I hope you came away learning something. We'll be back here again next week, right here in Crown Car Care Show.
An exemplary show.